one of the essential tools in my kit. This is an AirCat air saw. I got this on Amazon, and it has a, I forgot what TPI this is. I think it's 18 to 21 TPI blade, but TPI is teeth per inch. This I've used on my fiberglass, my fenders, everything. It creates no spark and it's clean. It cuts really clean. So if you go over here, look at my fenders on my Miata. I use this for my Cayman, which is right here also. But look at that. I only went through this one time. See this? Look how clean that is. All the way. Super clean. So if you guys have never used this tool, get it on Amazon. You'll need a compressor because it's air powered, it's pneumatic. But dude, it's a lifesaver. I use it on everything. All right, so first, I need to make sure that I get this thing lined up properly. So I got this pinstriping tape right here. I'm gonna cut a piece, and then I'm gonna line this whole thing up. Hopefully I don't drop this thing. So I got tons of blue tape. Yeah, blue tape right there. Just in case this thing decides to commit suicide. Okay, so we use this guy. Pretty simple. I've already measured how much I need to take off, so all I have to do is draw a straight line. Easier said than done, really. So I'm using the this tape because you can kind of bend it around corners ish, and then if you're steady you could do some pretty decent straight lines. All I gotta do is follow my dots and I should be good. There you go, that looks about right. Cut off that much. Work on this rear end part a little bit. There you go. Here's a closer look. It's basically just pinstriping tape. I got this stuff on Amazon, so if you need pinstriping tape quickly, just go to AutoZone and you'll find some, or Pep Boys, or your local auto store. But there you go. Drew the line across. Now I'm just gonna cut that with my air saw right here, and we should be good. See how that turns out. All right, here's a close-up. I just need to clean up the dots right there. That's just a marker. And we should be good. Look at that. Perfectly straight. I trimmed off a lot more than I thought I needed to off camera because I tested it the first time and it wasn't enough. So I took off double the amount that I marked earlier. So if you're rocking a Rocket Bunny kit, and you're doing the Jetstream fenders, the Jetstream side skirts, just know that you need to take off at least an inch off the bottom of your Rocket Bunny flare to make it work. If you don't, it's gonna catch and it's not gonna sit flush. Oh, and the trick with making this fender flush right here is to tighten this bolt first and then tighten the rest. I usually tighten the middle first and then tighten the rest, but I realized that the front has a bigger gap if I do that. And I've tried it several times. So if you guys have a Rocket Bunny flare, give it a try. Okay. So what I'm doing now is just dropping these screws in. I'm not even tightening it down yet. I want to make sure everything's leveled and we don't have any issues with the fitment down here before I tighten everything down. It's kind of like a basic rule, really. Don't tighten anything down until everything is in. Everything, I mean every screw. Okay. Right. So I'm filling that. And then we're gonna tighten this guy first. Seems like I'm not having any issues. So let's tighten this guy as I would normally. And then I'm gonna pull this guy up. Tighten this. This is kind of my sequence, so if you guys have your own methods, you don't need to follow what I'm doing here, but this is a good practice. I've taken this body off more than you can possibly imagine. And you don't need to over tighten these bolts. They just need to be snug, because if you do over tighten them, you could end up cracking the fiberglass. And you don't want to do that, because then you'd have to take it back to the body shop and they had to patch it up and all that fun jazz. Okay, so what I usually do is I tighten it, then I back out a quarter. All right, there we go. Now we have clearance right here and it's not touching anything, and I could gauge it with my fingernail right here that everything is good. Up here is great, all the way down is good. So now we're good to go. We're not touching, and if this flexes, it's not gonna rub off the paint once I paint this piece. So we're good to go. All I need to do is take this whole thing off, drop it off at Felix's, and have it painted. Should be ready in about a week and a half or so, depending on how this coronavirus shit goes. Here's a closer look. Nice and fitted. Not gonna have any interference issues with the side skirts and the top flare. Down here you can see the tube bracket, and that's just gonna be aluminum colored. Kind of matches the brace right there on the left. But this is actually gonna be the mounting location for the side splitter when I install it later. I'm not gonna install it now because I still need to take off this whole assembly and paint it. But later, when everything's done, that's gonna be the next thing. We add the side splitter. It's basically like a front splitter, but for the side skirt. So if you guys wanna run the Jetstream side skirts on your Rocket Bunny kit, just know, if you line up the Jetstream side skirt like you should, then this will actually be all the way up right here. It sticks out. So you could either do two things. You either cut it so it fits, or you center the side skirt, which is what I did. So I have 1 inch overhanging on that side, and I have 1 inch overhanging on this side, and it's centered. So that's actually why I had to cut the fender itself in the back yesterday, and I had to trim the Rocket Bunny flare. Because if you just install this like you should, the rear will be exactly flush with the fender well. What I mean by that is, you see how we have an overhang right here? This should actually be forward by a lot. But I did that purposely because I wanted a 1 inch hang here and 1 inch hang in the front to kind of center the side skirt without having to cut it. Street Page, if you look him up, Street Page, he has a Arizona tea colored Jetstream NA in Japan. They actually trimmed this. So they made the front exactly flush, and then they trimmed the back, which I think it's hokey to me, because if you look back here, this thing actually wraps around. So it goes down and wraps around. And if you just trim it and cut it, I think it just looks ghetto. So two choices. You either center it like I did, and then you'll have to do work to the front and keep the side skirts the way it is from the factory, or you trim the front or the back to make it work. I think like this looks so much better because you actually don't alter the side skirt, and it still fits really nice and snug on the body because you're only moving about an inch, and you know the body at the bottom's pretty flat, so it's not a big deal. I'm gonna be running the side splitters on here anyways, and it pops up a little bit, so we're good. I like it this way. You have several choices to, I guess, to choose from if you do this, but this is just one of them.